Part 2. Building Skills. Speaking. Exercise S1. Concentrating on individual consonant sounds. 1,
Peter called us up and invited us for supper.
2,
The robbers escaped in a stolen cab and drove to their hideout, but they were eventually caught.
3,
The children went on a scavenger hunt, and the victorious team was given a prize.
4,
The dog followed the caddy around the golf course.
5,
Schools can do more to encourage students to take on the responsibilities of learning.
6,
The big logging companies are gone from the region.
7,
If the fish stocks are depleted, it will be the fishermen who suffer.
8,
The very first editions of the manuscripts are available for everyone to see.
9,
They are rethinking the rule of thumb that requires people to stay on the path.
10,
The mother decided to bathe her baby.
11,
A lesson in building a house made of sod was offered at the outdoor museum.
12,
The zoologists use tranquilizers when tagging the deer that enter the park.
13,
Careful land management has saved the rim area from overgrazing.
14,
The judges named the winner as soon as the race was over.
15,
Singing a favorite song is a good way to cheer oneself up.
16,
The land grant allows for full use of resources.
17,
Cooperative games help children to realize their potential in a non-threatening situation.
18,
The people in the tower witnessed how fast the fire was spreading.
19,
The Children's Hospital has perhaps the best doctors to deal with the problem.
20,
A layer of yellowish sandstone marks the division between the two geological periods.
21,
Since the idea in a demolition derby is to demolish the car, drivers should continue until this has been achieved.
22,
The genre of art called the collage is a pleasure to work in.
23,
By chance, a farmer uncovered the rich burial site that had survived in nature for several centuries.
24,
According to Jim, changing over to the computerized system led to a surge in interest.
25, Exercise S2. Concentrating on consonant clusters.
Snowflakes swirled around the makeshift huts as the drifts, shifted by the howling winds, mounted up against the walls. The drafty huts creaked and groaned in response. Then door hinges squeaked as abominable snowmen stepped across the thresholds into the sparsely furnished rooms. Marge strained her vocal cords as she screamed in an attempt to bring help. Her blood-curdling screams woke her from the terrible dream.
Exercise S3. Focusing on stress patterns.
Theaters of the Elizabethan period were open-air constructions in which poorer members of the audience, the groundlings, stood in a space called the pit around three sides of a projecting rectangular platform that formed the main stage. Most of the perimeter of the building comprised covered, tiered galleries, and it's here that the wealthier members of the audience sat. A roof supported on two pillars projected from the back wall and covered part of the stage. The main stage was hollow and could be accessed from below through trap doors set in the floor. The main stage also had a door on either side at the back, which gave access to the dressing rooms. Between these doors was a small recess, usually curtained off, that could be used for extra stage space. Above this recess was a balcony sometimes used by musicians or, when necessary, by actors in a performance.
Exercise S4. Focusing on linking words.
It's simply not feasible for every university library in the nation to contain all the books, journals, and resource materials that university students and faculty need for their research. So what have libraries done to meet the needs of their users? Well, several things, in fact. While some money is used for the yearly purchasing of hardbound books and current journals that are recommended by professors, other funds are used to obtain materials that have been put on microfilm and microfiche. These techniques have proved extremely useful for adding informative materials to a library's collection at a low cost and without taking up much space. Another way libraries have increased access has been to invest in computers. Computers are linked to collections in other libraries. Professors and students can perform a computer search to find a library that has the material they need. The material can then be ordered and checked out through the interlibrary loan system, which costs the user a nominal shipping fee.
Exercise S5. Focusing on intonation.
Professor Klein?
Yes?
I'm Robert Daly. The work-study office sent me.
Oh, I've been waiting for them to send someone. Did you say your name was Robert?
Yes.
What's your major, Robert?
Zoology.
Good. You have some science background then. Let me show you what we're doing in our lab.
Will I be working in the biology lab?
Yes. We're studying the speed of reproduction of paramecia. Paramecia are the most complex single-celled organisms.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Well, what we need you to do is probably not so interesting.
And what is that?
We'll need you to come in every day at the same time and count the paramecia.
Count paramecia?
Yes. It's very important to keep an accurate count and fill the numbers in on a form. I'll show you where the forms are and explain how to complete it later. After you've completed the form, you need to give it to Nancy. She's the woman that you met in the lab office. She'll feed your numbers into the computer for our statistical analysis. Right now, though, I want to introduce you to the other members of our team so that we can arrange a convenient time for you to come in.
Exercise S6. Putting it all together.
Treasured since ancient times, saffron is obtained from the autumn-flowering Crocus sativus. It is the dried flower stigmas, the 3 slender threads in the center of each flower, that are the source of saffron. This king of spices is one of the world's most prized and expensive foodstuffs. The finest variety is grown in La Mancha, in the central plateau of Spain. Spain is by far the biggest producer. It contributes 70% of the world's output, with India and Iran the only other producers of note. The cultivation of saffron in Spain goes back to the Moorish invasion of the 8th century, when the crocuses were first introduced from the Middle East. Not only is Spain the largest producer of saffron, but it is also the largest consumer. Up to 1/3 of the crop is bought in Spain, and the remainder is exported. The biggest buyers are Middle Eastern countries, followed by the United States, Italy, and France.